Hello there, boys and girls, and all of those in between. My name is Maliena Bitchcock, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Bitch Talk with Bitchcock, a fantastic talk show where I get to interview some of the best performers from all over. And this week, I am so happy because I got one of my favorites from all the way from Portland, Oregon, the one and only RogueStormSafari.
Hello, hello. How are you, darling?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. And how about you, love? Are you surviving quarantine over there?
Oh, just barely, girl, barely. I'm going stir crazy.
Oh, honey, I am feeling that myself, especially as the beautiful weather comes out. And I just want to go outside and have some fun. It's like all you can do is stay inside and avoid the virus.
Amen. That is the truth. Oh my God.
Well, I'm so excited that we finally got the one and only RogueStormSafari on Bitch Talk with Bitchcock, because I have to be honest, you and your show Black Magic has been referenced on my show so much.
Oh my gosh, I have heard a few people, and it makes me really happy that we're that popular, but it's taken some work, darling. It's taken some work.
Well, I can't wait to learn all about it. Rogue, are you ready to dive into the bulk of this interview and learn all about you?
Let's do it, darling. Let's do it.
Yes, darling. Well, Rogue, let's start at the very beginning and talk about what was your actual first exposure to drag?
So I grew up in North Carolina in my teens, and when I turned 18, of course, the bars would allow youth in, but they had to have like a wristband. And so I would go to the bar and I saw these drag queens and I was like, I want to do that. I need to do that. I don't think I could do that, but I want to do that. And so at 18 years old, I put on my first dress. I sewed an outfit out of a corset, and then I went out on the town and was quickly slayed because my face just did not meet the standards of where I was doing drag. But it was absolutely fun. I've been doing it since then.
I love it. And I think we all start looking a little raunchy, and some of us still look a little raunchy to this day. But, it's a learning process. And look at you now. I mean, you're a true beauty queen. And I love that you've come so far. What was it about drag that made you want to do it?
Well, for me, there's a lot of gender expression in drag. There's a lot of basically artistic expression in our emotions. And so when I first started doing drag, I just kind of did it so I could look pretty, so I could be in the bar, so I could be with people. And then I started performing more and more and getting more gigs. And then I was like, oh, this is where drag is at. This is it, honey. But for me, it's also been a nice exploration of figuring out who I am and being comfortable in who I am. And yeah, that's where I'm at today.
And I get that. I think drag has always helped us. I always call it our armor. It allows us to add a little confidence, a little bit of clarity within our brain. And it allows us to do things and be things that normally we may not feel comfortable with. So I totally get it. Now, at what point did you actually go from being an audience member and start doing the drag yourself?
So the first show I saw was, I want to say August of 2011, and then I started doing drag in December of 2011.
Oh my gosh. And I mean, that had to be exciting for you. What was your first time on stage like for you?
It was so nerve-wracking. I was so nervous. I literally was shaking in my boots. But then once I got on the stage, like that feeling, I know that a lot of people talk about it and a lot of people feel it, but once you hit the stage, it just, everything washed away. I was fine, and it just turned the party out, honey. It was fun.
Oh, yes, I love it. Now, you have a fabulous name, RogueSafari. What made you choose your drag name?
Well, there are three different parts to this question. Rogue and Storm are both my favorite X-Men, Storm being my most favorite, but it just flows better, Rogue Storm. Rogue comes from the fact that I was raised by a lot of different queens. I've gotten tips. I like to follow what other people are doing and ask people questions about, oh, this is how you do that. And so, you know how Rogue takes people's powers? I'm like, I'm going to take your drag, but in a positive way.
Oh,
And then Storm, she is just a force of nature.
oh my God. I mean, the references alone that you're giving me for Rogue and Storm, I mean, I'm an 80s and 90s kid, and I grew up watching Fox Saturday morning, the X-Men cartoons, and to me, that's the real X-Men besides the comic books, because these movies got shit on the comic books.
You telling
And
the truth, honey.
thank you. And you know, the fact that your names, both of them, are inspired by two of the most like amazing female X-Men, should I say? I think that's kind of fabulous, and it kind of titillates the geeky queen in me.
Oh, I'm happy to hear that, darling. I have been a comic book nerd since I was a child. I absolutely love the X-Men. I mean, it is the gay struggle, let's be real.
Oh yeah.
Um, it's absolutely fabulous. And, Storm is a very powerful Omega level mutant. And I absolutely love her. So yeah, the X-Men always going to have a place in my heart, baby.
Oh my goodness. And just on the subject of X-Men, would you ever consider doing like cosplay of Storm?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I already have the hair. I just need to get the outfit itself. And then I also have like contacts and I'm planning makeup and hair and everything. It's gonna be fabulous.
Oh my gosh, I simply cannot wait to see that, because I think you would be so beautiful as Storm. Now, tell us a little bit about the character that we now know as RogueSafari.
Oh, well, RogueSafari is definitely a stage personality, I will say. When I'm at the bar, sometimes people think that I'm a little bit standoffish because it's hard for me sometimes to get out of my own little shell to talk to people. But once I get on the stage, that's where it all is, girl. That's who Rogue is. That's who I am. That's where I feel like I leave everything. Like I said earlier, I love emotional performances, and so people have now come to know me for songs that make them cry. And so I have all of these stories from people of a time I made them cry when I performed a song that they now can't stop listening to.
Oh, I love that. A performance that makes people feel emotions, I think, are the strongest, because you can go out there and have numbers where people are dancing and doing tricks and stunts, but it's those things that either make people really sit down and think, or maybe even cry, or even just laugh, that really resonate with people. And I think it really does take an art, especially to make someone feel those emotions, because it's not easy, especially if you're on stage and like hundreds of people are staring at you and you're trying to like embody this ballad that you're doing. It's not always easy.
At all. And I think that's the one thing that a lot of people do confuse with drag in general. It's not easy to get on the stage, but with emotional drag, it's even harder because sometimes you have to pull from these real visceral places that you're just like, these people don't need to see me crying like this.
I hear that, definitely. Now, how would you describe RogueSafari in just 3 words?
I would describe RogueSafari as smart, quick, and emotional.
I love that. What do you think makes her so quick?
I typically have an answer because I like to listen to people a lot. So whenever someone will ask me a question, like I'm like, oh, well, this is what you said earlier, so this is probably what you should do. I'm always on my toes. I like to think about the situations that I'm in and everything that's around me.
Yes, and I would ask you what makes you smart, but I found out in a pre-interview that you're a very smart queen. I mean, you even go to school and learn all the knowledge.
Yes, honey, I gotta get that degree.
You gotta respect the smart queen, honey. Well, I love it. Well, tell us a little bit, what is your personality like in drag? And do you feel like there's a major shift from real life to when you put the wig and lip gloss on?
Well, I actually think there is a shift. When I'm not in drag, it's kind of, I'm more reserved, I'm more kept to myself, and I like to talk to the people that I know. And then I like to make new friends, of course, too, but it's always, I feel a little bit weird sometimes. I'm like, oh, maybe they don't like comic books as much as I do. Let me step back. But when I'm in drag, I feel powerful and I feel like, there's nothing that I can't do. So I walk around like that, and I like other people around me to feel that way too. So I like to share that power with everybody. It feels good.
Oh my
Out of drag, not even.
I love it. It feels like almost as like maybe a geeky reference that drag is your mutant power. It allows you to kind of break free from those chains maybe you were grown up with that saying you can't do this, you can't be that. And it allows you to break all those rules and do whatever the fuck you want.
Exactly. We are the mutants, darling.
You gotta love it. You know, I used to say, especially growing up, when people would say, what superpower would you want if you could have like a mutant power? And I said, obviously to shapeshift, because to me, I'm perfect, but to the rest of the world, there's always something wrong with me. So I always wanted to be able to change my appearance to be what I thought was pretty. And now look at me now, I am a shapeshifter.
Yeah.
I love it. Now, besides some of these X-Men characters that we've already mentioned, are there any pop icons, any characters or strong female women that have been in your life that helped influence Rogue and help inspire the character that you are today?
Oh, well, there are a lot of women in my life. I have 4 sisters.
Ooh, goodness.
So, yeah, I grew up with a lot of female leadership and female role models. And so it's hard to pinpoint just one person. There's so many women in my life. But I do know that I take a lot of inspiration from Storm. And as corny as it might sound, she is beautiful, she's powerful, she's strong-willed, she is, you know, a leader in her own right, but she is very compassionate when she leads, and so she always thinks about what's best for others first. And that's what I strive for. That's everything.
I think that's actually really beautiful because, especially as kids or queer kids, even that, it can be hard to especially feel that place where you fit in. And especially for those kids, we relate to like the superheroes. And I definitely see why you would relate to Storm because, I mean, she literally had a power she barely knew how to control. And it took her time, courage, and patience. And she finally got to a place where she was mistress of the weather and one of the most like powerful mutants within the X-Men.
Exactly. And that's one thing that I think she should impart on everyone is it sometimes takes time to come into your power and understand yourself fully, love.
Absolutely. Now, Rogue, would you say that you're a funny queen?
Yes and no. I feel like I'm funny when it comes off the cuff, but I'm not funny if I try to be funny. Ever.
Well, how would you describe like your sense of humor? Like for Maliena, I'm very dark and a little raunchy.
Ooh, girl, I like the macabre jokes, honey. That's my gig. That is my tea. Yes.
Oh, yes. I got a few bodies buried in the forest back there.
Is that in Southern Oregon, girl? I believe it. Amen.
Yes, I am from Medford.
Oh, yes. Amen.
Well, I love it. Now, what would you describe your sense of humor like?
Oh, honestly, just a little bit self-deprecating. Macabre, like I said, if you were to talk to me outside, I'm like, oh, where did they hide the body, girl? I wonder. It's really dark. I like dark humor. I think that comes from a very genuine place, but I love dark humor. The darker, the better. It's just like, oh, but I don't like offensive dark humor. So you might hear me talk about, oh, this body ended up in the river somewhere, but not a real body. It's like a little doll or something.
No, and I get it. You know, it's okay to push certain boundaries, but you don't want to offend people or make them feel unsafe around you. And it's okay to be weird and macabre as long as people know that the boundaries you're pushing is made for the purpose of entertainment, I should say, and not to make people feel uncomfortable or unsafe around you. Because I definitely joke about weird things. I am a humongous fan of horror films. Like, oh my God. Like slasher films are my everything. And I'll totally make jokes. I just bought one of my favorite queens out in Portland. I bought her a step down gift, Flawless Shade. And I got her these beautiful red jewels. And I told her when I gave them to her, I'm like, just remember they're made of the blood of your enemies.
Yeah, I love it so much. They sparkle so well too.
Why do you think they're so red? Well, I love it.
Yeah.
Now, how many years have you been doing drag at this point, Rogue?
Oh, well, what year is it again? Oh God, it's 2020.
2020, the year of hell.
God, I hate it. I hate it. Just ugh. I've been inside all year. I forget what month it is anymore. I mm, I think it's been about in December. It'll be about 9 years.
9 years, Rogue. Oh my goodness. Like you are a OG, an old school girl.
Yes, ma'am. I was raised by the old school queens.
I love that. You know, me myself, I've been doing drag 15 years, but because most of it was within a small town, I call it like 5 years because I feel like this last 5 years is when I really blossomed, getting to actually work with all the professionals.
Hey, man, I feel that. Absolutely feel that.
Yes. Now, do you feel like drag has added a confidence for you, not just in your everyday life, but when you, not just when you're in drag, but also in your everyday life, is actually what I was trying to say.
Yes, absolutely. I feel like I feel more confident in knowing what I want and when I want it, and I can be patient. I am patient as I often try my best to have people around me exude patience as well. But I know exactly what I want now, and when I'm not in drag, I know exactly how I'm gonna get it.
I love that. You know, like I mentioned before, drag is definitely our armor, gives us the ability to be stronger. But I will say sometimes it can get difficult because the audience members tend to put us on what I call the perfect pedestal, where they assume that we are these perfect, flawless creatures that don't really have human emotions. So sometimes they get this unrealistic expectation of what they expect from a drag queen.
I agree, and it's kind of sad because I think it's mostly on this TV pedestal. We see these queens on television now, and they are put to behave a certain way because of how it's edited. So we think that that's real life, and so people put us on that pedestal, and like we need to be doing these things, and we should be on this level. We should. It's not how drag works.
You know, I do like that you said that production TV level, that it's almost an illusion of what they want you to think drag is. And the truth is, drag can be anything. And that's kind of the beauty of these different outlets that are happening just besides Drag Race, such as Dragula or Camp Wanakiki, because it's giving all types of performers an opportunity to just be seen, be heard, and not feel like they're being shoved within this tiny little box that they can only do certain things.
Exactly, and that's the thing that we're changing a lot nowadays, especially as those boxes. No one wants to fit all of their drag into a little box. Step out of it.
Now, 5 dicks in one box, now that's accepted.
I'll take it, honey. Mail it to me if you got it.
I love it. Now, Rogue, what can we expect from a RogueStormSafari performance?
Oh, you can expect two things. You're either going to get a dance the house down boots show, or you're going to get an emotional roller coaster that I don't think that anybody is ever prepared for when they walk in, but they love it by the end.
Oh my goodness. I mean, that does definitely sound titillating. How would you describe your performance style?
I would say that my performance style is very Vogue meets kind of choreographed numbers, but I really like dancing to beats, and so I'll oftentimes listen to my songs without the words so I can get the feel of the music as well. Um, so yeah.
I love that. Now, what kind of music do you tend to be attracted to for a performance?
Definitely emotional numbers. I guess I think we're gonna keep going back to that, but I do like a good song that has a really nice beat that I feel like I can move my body to. But one of the things that I come back to all the time are songs that just put me in my feelings, and often in a good way, like in a good reflective way, where I need to think about something that's happened in my life or something that I need to process. It's a wonderful thing. And so I always go back to those emotional ones.
You know, there's nothing wrong with feeling some of those feelings. And I like to bring emotions to the stage once in a while, besides just humor. And I think it's interesting because sometimes, especially when the audience kind of says, well, Maliena Bitchcock, she's a comedy queen, she's a camp queen, she's going to bring some silliness. And then when you push all of that kind of silliness, that camp aside, and you say, I'm going to do the serious emotional numbers, sometimes it takes people off guard even more. And they, like, I've had people like break down in tears, like, I didn't see that coming from you. You got me in tears. Oh my God, I can't believe you like hit my emotions like that. Do you ever feel like that?
All the time. Absolutely. I watch people, I love to interact with the crowd when I'm performing. So I get to see their faces and then they're like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. And oftentimes it's like a cover of a song that they weren't expecting to be like an emotional cover. I'm like, yes, honey, I got you covered.
Oh my goodness, I totally love that. You know, I covers can definitely give a different feel. Do you know the song Dragula by Rob Zombie?
Yes. Yes, I
So
do.
there is a beautiful female cover to it that came out with a wonderful horror film called Haunt that's exclusively available on Shudder. Shameless plug. And it's like this beautiful, emotional, but like haunting version of Dragula. And honey, I am just dying to perform it. And I want to do it as a serial killer.
Yes. Oh, dress up as Jason Voorhees. Oh,
Uh-huh.
yes.
I mean, I'm a little bit like, you may not know the reference if you're not a horror fan, but like, I definitely would feel my American Mary fantasy. Um, Great movie if you haven't checked it out, all about body modification and a like kind of the female struggle. It's beautiful. All right, now back to you and enough about horror films. um, I also know now, Rogue, besides just doing standard emotional songs or funny songs, you tend to make some of your mixes, correct?
Yes, actually, I do like making mixes.
What all goes into creating a mix, especially if you're wanting to either make people laugh or touch certain emotions? What kind of work goes into really embodying a performance within that mix?
Making sure that you are telling a story. The one thing that I like when I'm performing, every song that I will ever gravitate towards has a story that is wanting to be told. And so whenever you make a mix, it's the same thing. You want your mix to tell a story all the way through. It might start with one song, but by the end of the song, if people are confused, that's a problem. You have to take people on a journey, whether it's a good journey or a bad journey. They need to know where point A is and where point B is.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, you definitely, as a performer and a drag artist, you are a storyteller. And when you are on stage, it's your chance to bring to life your story. And it can be silly and just dancy, or it can be serious and over the top, as you've mentioned you like to do. Now, where do you tend to pull some of the inspiration, especially when you're trying to create a performance?
I like to pull a lot of inspiration from live performances, especially a lot of local entertainers that sing live. I'll listen to a song that they performed, and then I'll try to perform it myself with the riffs and runs and see how I can get it down like they do. But I really get inspired by the people that sing live here. It's an amazing thing to witness, and it just you feel it in your bones, and that's always an inspiration to me.
Would you ever consider doing like a live performance and be like, da 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 da, I got you, babe?
Yes, actually, I have done a live performance. I did one at at local lounge for my lunch, but one at Tonic Lounge too for the Pride shooting at Pulse Orlando. I did a number that was dedicated to all those that we lost. Unfortunately, I used to live in Orlando, so yeah, that was the last time that I actually sang live seriously.
You know, and I admire that because any queen, even if they don't sound great, that gets the confidence to get on a microphone and just say, I'm going to own this song, no matter how it sounds, and have fun with it. I think that really shows a different level of like confidence than what we do just as lip syncers. Me, myself, I have a wonderful song that I have available on YouTube called Clownfish that was sang by me and written and produced by the amazing slut Tasia here in Eugene. Fantastic live singing performer. But it's funny because when I sing my song live, I'm not a singer. And I'm not. And I'm just like, clownfish, clownfish, bitchcock, bitchcock. And I try to have more fun with it because, you know, I'm never going to be a serious singer. So I tend to try to make fun of myself as a singer.
Yes, that's self-deprecation, yes.
Yeah, I guess it is self-deprecation, but sometimes it's funny. Well, I love it. Now, let's see here. Let me make sure I find myself. What do you want an audience member to actually take away from a Rogue Safari performance?
I want people to take away that I am going to get your money. No, I just want people to like feel themselves, have a good time, like realize that we're all going through these things that we can express. You can express it through music, you can express it through conversation, but it's okay to feel these things. And that's what I want people to take away, especially for Black magic. I want specifically Black people to understand that they are beautiful, they can express these emotions and feel these things, and leave the show knowing that they're going to come back next month because we're going to turn up again.
I love that. Absolutely. Now, Rogue, are you known for any like major dancing, choreographed dancing, or any tricks on stage at all?
I mean, I am known to do the tricks. I do like to do my cartwheels. I love a good hand roll. Not the sushi, but I like to do the back handsprings. I like to do, I'll drop to my knees occasionally, like in a good emotional performance. I feel like there are times when it's needed.
Well, honey, I know all about dropping to your knees. I do that all the time.
She said, I gotta clean my stuff.
It's definitely needed. Well, sorry to interrupt with a sexual pun. So you like to do tricks like dropping to your knees? What else?
Well, it doesn't stop there. I spread my legs wide open in a split, and I just mop the floor with my taint. It is painful but fun. I gotta say that.
I was gonna say, don't you hurt your lady part?
Yes, every time.
Oh my goodness. Now tell me a little bit about your drag style and what kind of looks we can expect from Rogue Safari.
Oh, that is a difficult question, girl. I was not expecting that. I honestly, I feel like my aesthetic is always changing. I like to change up everything that I do. Sometimes you'll see an outfit before I put stones on, and the next time you see it, it'll be covered in rhinestones. I just think it depends on the performance. Yeah, so it depends on what I'm doing, and that is what I will put on the stage. That is what I'll put together. I don't like to have a set aesthetic to me, I guess. I know my face is always going to look the same, but I don't like to have any restrictions on what I can and can't do.
Well, then I guess that makes my next question a little awkward. How would you describe your drag aesthetic?
Well, like I said, I like to look pretty. I do like a good big old eye socket. Cut that crease as high up as you can. I don't know, I think one of the things that I want my aesthetic to be is just always smiling and having a good time. But recently I've gotten really into bright colored hair. I absolutely used to wear just basic, boring colors all the time. And now this pink wig is even giving me life just sitting here.
Oh, I feel you, girl. You know, I used to always get scared of getting old and gray, and now I'm just feeling it. Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, Rogue, I am totally enjoying this interview. Now, one of my favorite picks when getting ready for this interview to advertise for you was I came across this fantastic picture of you on stage, which looked like you were either like a bloody bride or maybe inspired by Carrie. Could you tell us a little bit about like this edgy kind of monstery drag look that you did?
Yes. So I was actually performing for a Wanda Bones production for Halloween. It was absolutely fabulous. But I was doing a Carrie number because we were all doing Halloween film inspired looks and performances. And so I did a bloody number in a long bridal gown that I just drenched myself in blood and belted out some evanescence and left it all on the stage.
Now, I love that. How did it feel for you to kind of break the traditional beauty and come on stage with more of an edgy look?
It felt fabulous. It was, I mean, it's wonderful. Like I said, I love performing. And so just any type of performing that I can get done and I put out something that people still remember to this day, that is all I live for. And it was absolutely wonderful to get out of that beauty box that people put you in.
No, absolutely. And the fact that you did something such as Carrie, I kind of love because it was that geeky, shy little girl who just had too much and said, fuck it, you're all gonna die.
Yeah. I was feeling my oats that night, honey, let me tell you.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of drag aesthetic, one thing that I think makes you so fierce is one thing I know you're known for are amazing nails. In fact, you create your own nails and you have your own nail company. Tell me a bit about that.
Yes, absolutely. So a little bit over a year ago, I started Safari Claws. They are custom luxury reusable nails. I pretty much saw that there was no one really doing nails in Portland, and I'm a very artistic person, and it takes a lot of time, but I absolutely love it. You can just create so many different things, and everyone here is so different in how they want to express themselves. So it's like, absolutely, yes.
Oh my goodness, I love that. What all goes into creating like a cloth set, especially if you're making it specifically for a specific person?
Well, that takes measuring people's nails first, and then I go into actually making the tips and filing everything, painting everything, and then I have to do several different designs. So I like to iterate through my nails, which is why I don't have any instant sets that everyone asks for. I like to take time when I'm making my nails. I think, especially when you're making custom nails, it should be like getting a salon level set. You should have something that you can reuse and be proud of and will always be your aesthetic.
No, and I totally appreciate that. As a queen that does not wear nails very often, and anytime I try to, they bust off instantly. I definitely am always looking for something that's easy to either pop on or just use a glue dot. Hopefully it sticks, I pray to God. But, I think a lot of queens these days, they live by not showing their boy hands and they have to have nails. So I have to ask, where can our audience members get their hands on some safari claws?
Well, you can message me on Facebook or Instagram. I'm always taking direct messages. As soon as I see an order, I'll respond as quickly as I can. But yeah, just message me and we can talk about pricing, sizes, and everything.
Oh, I totally love that. I might have to send you a message myself because, honey, you're making me want some freaking raptor claws myself.
Hey man, we can get you hooked up with some Jurassic style, honey.
I love it. Now, Rogue, um, you have been doing some amazing things with your drag career. Most recently, you were actually crowned, which I believe with this amazing thing on your head right now, as Miss Sweetheart of Portland. Do you mind telling us a little bit about that experience?
Yes, absolutely. So I and two other people were crowned Mr., Miss, and Mix Sweetheart of the Sweethearts of Portland at the start of the pandemic. So one of the things that we do is just represent our community with pride, honor, and dignity, and we raise money and we volunteer as much as we can. So far as Miss Sweetheart 32, I have been able to raise over $6,000 in the time that the quarantine's been going on for different charities and individuals.
Oh my gosh, that's impressive, especially during quarantine because everyone's kind of holding on to their money and kind of things are hard for everyone. So that's awesome, Rogue. Tell me, what do you like most about being a Miss Sweetheart?
Well, I actually really enjoy getting to change people's lives. That's something that I seek out in my career in drag and my everyday career. But being able to do some good work, some actual good work, and sometimes it's hard for me to get out and volunteer, but I know if I am able to raise money for these organizations directly, it will help someone in the end. And that is all I can ever ask for. It's all I ever really want is to be able to help people.
Absolutely. And what does it mean to you to be the current Miss Sweetheart right now?
It means a lot to me, honestly. I mean, like I said, stepping up in this pandemic, it's not about us. It is not about me. It's not about my co-parts and my other title holders. It's about the work that we can do and the help that is needed in our communities. And so I think that's the one thing that I want a lot of people to understand is like, I don't like the shiny, pretty hats are nice and everything, but it's the work behind the hat that matters. And the sweethearts, we're constantly evolving, constantly changing. And I think that this year we're doing some amazing things.
I think that's really awesome. Me as a queen, I've always been kind of instilled as doing work for your community because those are the people that support you as a queen. Excuse me. Tell me a little bit now with this title, because you do so much community work. Um, what does this community work mean to you, especially when you see the differences it makes for your community?
And it at the end of the day, it means the world because there's a lot that's happening. There's a lot that's going on. And like you said earlier, like even with the quarantine and everyone holding on to their coins, that is beautiful to me. The fact that people want to go out of their way and change someone's life so drastically and minutely all at the same time, like even a dollar counts, and that dollar can still impact someone in the most amazing way. And so it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
No, I definitely can understand that. Now, because you were crowned like literally at the beginning of COVID, I mean, it's had to be quite the struggle. Um, how do you feel like it has affected your title, and how do you feel like you've overcome it with having such a major event happening right after you were crowned?
Well, I think that it's just affected our ability to be out and about with the people. I personally didn't take the title for any sort of accolades or anything. There's just work that I wanted to do, and I thought it would be better with an organization behind me that I also support. And so there's still work that we're doing. There's still work that can be done, and I will continue working even if there is no quarantine. Even if there's no pandemic, I'll still be doing it.
Amen, sister. I love that attitude. Now, as the sweethearts, what kind of work do you kind of aim to do for your community?
Pretty much, we put on different fundraisers to raise money for organizations or individuals. But one of the things that I feel like what I want to do as a sweetheart is change the way we interact with our community and change the way we support our community because there's a lot of different needs in this community. And there's a lot of things that go on like unheard and unaddressed. So it's easier for me as Miss Sweetheart to try to work with the organization to change the things that we need to get done in the community.
No, and I definitely get that because especially when you're in an organization that's been around for years, sometimes they're set in their ways and it can be a struggle, especially when you're wanting to make specific changes in the community that they're maybe not on board with. But one thing I respect so much, especially about the sweethearts, is they seem to have very open ears about what not only the community wants, but what you as a title holder want to do for your community.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I will say my story is different than past sweethearts, so it might not have always been that way for some people, but I think this year we have a wonderful board. We got to vote everyone in that is working really hard. We have Summerlin Seasons, Kimber Shade, Shima V. Valentine. We have so many great people working behind the scenes to do amazing things for this community that I am blessed to have them behind me and supporting me and standing beside me as well.
I think that's fantastic. Now, Rogue, what kind of advice would you give maybe an upcoming performer who'd want to run for one of those titles?
Oh, Well, that's a good question, actually. So we're going to be having our Duke, Duchess, and Duchess pageant title interview on July 19th at local lounge 3:30 to 5. We are getting the applications out as soon as possible, but I feel like that's a great way to step into the Sweethearts. It's an introductory title into the role, and I think we can groom some people to get into the main Sweethearts title as well. Basically, it's just people that want to do good work. If you want to do anything good for this community, I can guarantee you there is a spot at our table.
I love that. And what major changes do you think is possible by running for one of these titles and being a community leader?
All of the changes are possible. There's anything that you feel that you need to get done as a title holder, you can do with this organization this year. Um, I feel like there's just so many things that you can get done as a community leader, but also there's a lot of people that you could inspire. I mean, there's it's just so hard for me to not want to do something good for other people. And so if there's a title that they could be running for that would even be beneficial to them, even if they don't think that they can help the community in a good way, I would put my bottom dollar on that person to make sure that they get whatever they need to put on a successful year. Because if we don't support each other, we don't have community. And so you don't, when you're running for these titles, you don't need to think that, oh, well, I don't have this, I don't have that. It's what good can you do for your community? What good have you done? And what good will you continue to do?
Absolutely. And we're all capable of making changes within our community. It's literally finding our voice. And literally, even if it's just the small changes, people are always expecting, well, I'm going to do this major change that's going to be this major impact. But sometimes it's the small changes that start in a small place and grow into bigger changes along the years that really make the biggest differences. And I was Empress 45 of the Emerald Empire out here in Eugene. And I remember thinking, I'm going to be this legendary Empress where I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to do this. And it wasn't any of those major dreams or accomplishments that I dreamed of doing that really made a difference. It was the smaller things like being compassionate, being kind to people, creating a safe space so people didn't feel uncomfortable to support your organization. Those were the things that I realized were almost the biggest things that could really help benefit your organization.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely agree, honey. Compassion and kindness are two of the things that everyone should live by in the first place. We're all human.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. Now, I know, Rogue, you are quite the fan favorite out there in Portland. Can you tell me, what do you think makes RogueStormSafari so popular?
That's a hard question. I oftentimes don't think that I'm a fan favorite, but then people are like complimenting me on something like, I'm just really bad at taking compliments, so it's hard for me to like, oh, why am I the fan favorite? I don't know. I just know that I try to be extremely honest, open, transparent, and if something happens, we deal with it, and if people are having a good time, we're having a good time. It's I think it's how I hold myself. I've made my fair share of mistakes in the past, but I think learning from those and being a better community member and also making sure that I'm uplifting those around me and trying to make sure that they're being better community members. That
I love it. Absolutely love. Now, speaking of popular, you have a very popular hit show out in Portland that we all know as Black Magic. Tell us a little bit about that show.
Absolutely. So, oh my gosh, it's been on quite the adventure. First we started out at Local Lounge. It was me, Bougie Cherry, Kimberly, Michelle Westwood, and Devlin Lynn Phoenix. And the four of us turned out the show, but my gosh, that was the first time I was like, okay, we definitely need more than four people. It's also, I wanted to showcase all of the beautiful POC talent that we have in this town because there's often times where a lot of it's overlooked or people have their own groups and friends that they like to hang out with or go see shows of. So I wanted to change that. I was like, well, let's just make a show for the POC entertainers then. Let's make something that everyone will want to come see. And that's what happened. And so far, in the beginning, it was rough. There was some times where people wouldn't actually come to the show when they say they would. But then, you know, like all shows, it sometimes takes time. It's like a good old wine.
I love that. And, you know, I think especially shows like Black Magic that are meant to make a major impact and not just a place for people to feel entertained, but also a safe place for a specific kind of person to say, I can go here. I'm not going to be judged. I'm not going to be treated differently. And I'm going to see other people like me be featured on stage.
Yep, that is exactly what it is. It's like when you're a kid waiting to see that superhero that looks like you. That's what I want to give the community. There are so many beautiful people in this community that are just like the rest of us, that we all have not the right to see, but they have the right to put their art on stage, and we have the right to embrace whatever they give us. And it's been beautiful.
No, absolutely. Now, has there been other shows around Portland besides Black Magic that have featured mainly on POC performers?
Yes, so there's actually Melange, which is hosted by Dahlia Cash and Shy Bester, I believe, here in Portland. That is a POC and queer show, so it's not just POC entertainers. It's more of a variety, but it is a wonderful show, and I suggest everyone go check it out. Whenever they're back in business, go check it out. They might be doing a digital show soon. Who knows? But there's also Alexis Campbell Starr used to have the Queens of the Night over at Local Lounge 2. And I was not around during that time, but I hear it was bumping, honey. Other than that, there's a lot of POC produced shows, but I'm not really sure of the other ones off the top of my head because we haven't had time to celebrate all of them.
Why do you feel like shows like Black Magic are actually important to be featured within our community, especially this day and age?
Well, a lot of what I saw was that there wasn't a lot of seats at the table at this buffet. And so I decided to grab the tables and the seats from the back of the restaurant and put them out front for everyone to have a sit. Literally it's quite honestly is just, it felt like there wasn't enough representation within the community. And so now we got all of it, honey.
I love that. How did the POC performing community react, knowing they had this safe space that was featuring them and knowing that they wouldn't be judged or kind of perceived a certain way?
Well, I can't speak for everyone and their experiences or how they feel about it. When people talk to me, that's when I do know and what I can do to better service people. But in the beginning, it was hard because a few of the older queens didn't like that I didn't invite some of the older Black queens to a show called Black Magic, which is absolutely valid. And it's one of the things that I've changed about Black Magic, actually. I only ask Black entertainers, and then I get asked by POC entertainers to join the show, and it's been successful that way. But in the show, when you're at the show and you're performing and you see all of this love, it is so hard to describe. It is literally that is all I can put on that show is just love. That is the tagline. Love everybody there, and then it's just an energy. I don't know. It's just love.
I think that's kind of beautiful because you created this space, this show that really is this not just a show, it's a platform for people of color to feel important, to be heard, and to also spread love and kindness. And I think that's especially what drag is about. It's about speaking about the hard issues and spreading love, kindness, and acceptance, because not everybody feels that, especially in the POC community.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. And that's one of the main reasons why it's what I preach most of the time.
I love it. Now, what was the community and audience response to coming to a show, seeing being featured of POC performers?
Well, the response, like I said earlier, was a little bit mixed. Some people were wondering why I wasn't inviting some people to perform and why I was inviting others to perform all the time. And so one of the things that I did my best to do was actually change how I book people and change how I respond to the community. And so that's exactly what I did. I just started booking everybody.
Well, what about like the audience is more like we talked about the performance, but how about like the audience perspective? How did they take seeing a show that was featuring beautiful and talented performers, POC performers, and seeing that it was this safe space to come and watch them and support the colored community?
It was absolutely amazing the first time I had someone at the end of a show say, "This is necessary." It floored me. Someone told me that my show was necessary. And ever since then, like every time someone comes, they always bring a friend. And then occasionally that friend will bring another friend. And we have this constant roster of people that talk about Black magic, that come to Black magic, that support Black magic. And it's amazing because it's the audience doing this. And that's all I can ask for.
You know, and if you don't mind me saying, I am going to say something, and that is that your show is necessary because, and again, I'm a little white boy from Medford, Oregon, so forgive me. I see so many of my friends that don't get treated fairly or aren't heard or are underestimated because, and I hate to think it's because of the color of the skin, but it comes down to it, it is. People are judged and treated differently because of the color of their skin, and it's awful. And we are coming to an day and age where people are fed up and people are making their voices heard. And I think it's beautiful that people like you are also creating these spaces saying, we are going to be seen, we are going to be heard, and we are going to do political performances that you're going to listen to and you're going to watch and you're going to appreciate. And with that said, what kind of performances do people tend to do at Black Magic?
Whatever the hell they want. That is the point. It is to showcase whatever these POC entertainers want to put on that stage. And that is the main thing because there's so many restrictions and things for shows, like you have to do all these dancey numbers or you have to be upbeat. And that's not how everybody is all the time. That's not how everybody performs. There's some like really sensual burlesque performers. There's amazing comedians. There's like me who likes to do all the emotional stuff. Like there's so many more facets than just uppity, dancey, like all over the place. We don't have to do all of that. We don't all do that. And the people that do, I praise you, honey, because that's a lot of energy that I don't have.
Now, are there any performers that tend to like to kind of break the political boundary and make political statements on stage?
Well, some people do. It's hard to recall a time where someone that was a person of color did. I feel like I don't want someone to put on the stage what they don't feel appropriate or what they don't want to put on the stage at the time. If someone wants to be political, they can. But if they don't want to, the stage is for them to express their art in whatever form they feel. So with that said, I have not had many political performances, but in Black Magic, that is. But, you know, it is what it is.
You know, I get it. I think what you are providing there in Portland is truly beautiful, Rogue. And I love knowing that there are shows like this that are featuring our beautiful and talented POC community. Because as you know, there are so many talented performers out there, especially in Portland, that are people of color. And they're sometimes overlooked. And they are some of the most talented people in the world. And I think it's beautiful that you're giving them that opportunity and that platform to not only be seen and heard, but to just share the art with the rest of the world. So with that said, if you don't mind me saying this, I just want to thank you for doing that.
Oh, thank you for enjoying it and for speaking on it. I am humbled by anyone that loves the show and anyone that participates in it. It is my absolute honor to do so. Thank you.
Absolutely. Now, Rogue, I heard a little birdie told me that your show is so popular, you even had an article written about Black Magic and what it was doing for your community.
Yes. Oh, this was so long ago. It was at Local Lounge. One of my friends, Sebastian, who is a fantastic writer, asked me if he could do an article about me. And I was like, okay, I don't like talking about myself, but here we go.
Was
Yeah, it
it
was fabulous.
was it nerve-wracking or kind of scary to talk about something that was so close and passionate for you that you knew was important for the community to have that kind of show within it, especially when you're, like, let's say at a interview process, because that can be intimidating, correct?
Yes, like it was just as nerve-wracking as doing this.
This
I
is
am always nervous.
nerve-wracking? Oh my
No, not in
goodness.
a bad way. No, in a good way. I was nervous because I absolutely enjoy this show, and so that's kind of the thing is like I'm always nervous whenever it's something really good, and so I was extremely nervous. I was like, oh, fumbling on my words. I didn't know what I was gonna say, and this was all a messenger.
Oh my gosh. I think it's fun though. Like, what was the community's response seeing that your show got an article written about it?
Eh, to be honest with you, it was very, there wasn't that much celebration about it like there is now for a lot of these different things. But at the same time, like I am really okay with that because the show speaks for itself. And to me, articles are wonderful. They're a great thing to have under a resume for drag queens, but you speak louder than the article will.
Absolutely. And I fully agree. Now, I do kind of want to go to a more serious kind of topic and subject, especially talking of black magic. Right now, we are in some hard times, Rogue, and more than ever, Black Lives Matter is more important to talk about, to feature, and to support more than ever than it has before. What would you like to say on the Black Lives Matter movement?
Oh, Black lives have always mattered, and it's kind of the worst thing in the world is having to say, "Oh, Black lives matter." Yeah, you're damn right they matter. They've mattered for so long, and the disregard and the shame of being Black and how people were treated for so long and how people are still treated to this day is disgusting. And it's hurtful. It's a lot to unpack right now, but it Black lives have always mattered, and it's kind of sad to me that there are still people that believe that all lives matter without thinking about the fact that they can't all matter until Black lives do.
Well, and I think it's been said by several POC performers that and explain, like, I think Lady Red Couture said this. My homegirl Slutation from Eugene said this in her video that she released, that of course all lives do matter, but all lives can't matter until Black lives matter also, because so many people really, it's not even talked about the deaths that are going on within our community. I mean, it definitely has become featured because of the death of George Floyd, but we passed up the death of Breonna Taylor. I mean, that didn't even get really featured until the death of George Floyd got brought into headlines and people got outraged about it. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we shouldn't be in 2020 and doing the same things that we did in the 1960s to fight for freedom and equality. I mean, it's you're right. It's ridiculous that we have to still be fighting that same fight. But I will say this, I'm happy to stand there beside you and fight for you, baby, because we all are humans. We all have a right to be on this planet. And I will say this, some of my, oh my God, I'm going to get emotional. I'm sorry. Some of my most closest friends are people of color. And I hate seeing how they're treated. I hate it because it's like, to me, they're this beautiful, wonderful person. But to other people who may not know them, they're a Black person. And that's not okay, people. I mean, one of the biggest things we were taught in school was don't judge a fucking book by its cover. So why are you being racist? I mean, don't be judging people because of their color of their skin. You judge them for their behavior, the way they treat others, not for how they look.
A fucking man. You better tell it, sister.
Sorry, baby. You know, I love everyone, and I know that's kind of a cliche that people say to like avoid certain things, but I think everyone has a right to be loved. Everyone has a right to be appreciated. And for the people that want to take that right away from people just because of how they look, fuck off. Go, oh my God, go the fuck away, because your hatred and your ignorance is not needed right now. Go out and educate yourself. And maybe someday the world will become better when you do that, because less hate in this world, the better. All right. Well, are you ready to go on a more positive subject?
Yes, darling. I'm weary from the journey so far.
Yes. So we're almost done with the interview, actually, and then we're going to play a little game. Hong Kong. Yes. Now, what is something we should ultimately know about RogueSafari that we might not know yet?
Oh, well, that is another hard question, but I got an answer for you, baby.
I love it hard.
I knew you were gonna say that. Oh my gosh. I will always be the kindest that I can unless you fuck with me, and then if you fuck with me, then you're on my bad side. But I still won't be rude, honey. I love everybody. That's what I want people to know about me. I know that sometimes I can come off standoffish if I'm not talking in the bar or if I'm just walking really fast to get to my destination. And I really want people to know that it's okay to stop me if I'm not in a hurry. It's okay to talk to me at the bar. It's all right, baby. I don't bite unless you want me to.
You know, if you just want to slow RogueSafari down to get her attention, just wave a bag of weed at her. Be like, hey, look what I got. Look what I got. She will come running right to you and be like, hey, girl, how you doing? Want to go and burn some of that in the alley?
Hey, that is the tea. That is the tea, honey. I do love a good bag of ganja, and I'm not ashamed of it. But yes.
God bless the devil's lettuce. Well, perfect. What would you like to ultimately do with your drag career, Rogue?
Yeah. Smoke that devil's lettuce, honey. No, in my drag career, I want to establish a standard of emotional drag. I feel like that's one of the things that I really want to do, like be able to teach people how to pull from their heart and put it on stage. But also just want to keep doing good work. I want to not go down in the history books. I don't want people to like talk about me all the time, but I want to like make sure that I'm leaving my mark here and make sure that I'm leaving a good statue, if you will, of the work that I've done. I want it to stack up and look good and not look like a mess.
I get that, especially in the drag world. I think a lot of us, we have our real lives that we kind of strive for. Like you go to school and you're striving for real life goals, but then we have this different side of us that we break kind of the boundaries of real life, and we kind of get known in the underground scene. And it's nice to know that people kind of want to just support you and see this and kind of just, I don't know where I was going with that. Too much of that devil's lettuce, as we mentioned.
Baby, I've been smoking a bowl this entire time.
Oh, that's what that smell was. Well, we have one more, actually, just a few more questions. What is next for RogueSafari? Could we expect to see her in any other pageants or major competitions? Maybe even like RuPaul's Drag Race or Dragula?
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't like competitions. No, I would absolutely love to be on one of those competitions, but I have too much stuff to do here. I do know that I am working on a little pageant of my own.
Oh my God, really?
Yes, honey. I am working on one of my own little things. I'm working with a few other people. I'm going to try to keep it a little bit hush-hush right now, but if you love black magic, you'll love what I'm working on.
Oh my God. My nipples are getting so hard just hearing about it. Yes! I love it. I'm so titillated. Now, Rogue, I met you a few years ago out in Salem at a little bar called Shot Skis. We've only met once, but that one interaction, I have to be honest, I was in love. I was ready for a kai in that moment. And
Yes.
I am truly thankful that years later, you were willing to come on my talk show here on Bitch Talk with Bitchcock. So I have to ask, what did you think of your experience on Bitch Talk with Bitchcock?
I absolutely love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love this show. I love you. And yes, we've only met once, but let's be real. That was a long ass conversation and a lot of weed. But baby.
A lot of weed. Oh my. And I have good memories of that night. Like, I'm sometimes out of my element, especially if I'm performing in like a foreign town. And I remember like we were in backstage, we were just chit-chatting, and I was like, I like devil's lettuce. Do you like devil's lettuce? Let's go burn some devil's lettuce. And from that moment on, we were just like chit-chatting and have the greatest old time. And I remember having the greatest memories of you. And then years later, I had your drag daughter, Ellie, come on the show. And I was like, oh my God, RogueStormSafari's your mom? Oh my God, you're so lucky. And she's like, if you say so. She tries to embarrass me all the time.
That's the truth. I'm gonna embarrass her right now. Hey, baby, how you doing, honey? I love Ellie.
I love that. And just before I let you go, what do you like being a drag mom? Is she your only drag baby?
She is not the only drag child that I have had, but she is one of my favorites. Don't tell my other kids. Yeah, I love being a drag mother. It's absolutely fabulous because not only do you have someone that looks up to you for advice in drag, but it's also someone that wants to come to you for family, like legitimate family needs. And as someone that doesn't have family here, it is really, really important to me. And Ellie has been through a lot herself, and I absolutely love her. And so, like, her being there for me as well is like what has shown me that she's true family. I absolutely love being a drag mama.
I love that. And all of you beautiful boys and girls and all of those in between, if you want to see another fantastic past interview, please go look up RogueSafari's drag daughter, as I did this fantastic Bitch Talk with Bitchcock interview with Ellie Allure Safari herself. It was a fantastic interview, and I will be honest, she shared all the tea during that interview. So it was a great interview. Now, before I let you go, Rogue, we're going to play a little game. But before we go to that game, I just have to make a quick announcement. If you've enjoyed this fantastic interview with RogueSafari, I want you to look down below within the description, not just my titties, where you can find the PayPal, Venmo, and Cashapp information for both me and RogueSafari. So if you've enjoyed this fantastic interview and want to share a little extra appreciation, you can actually tip both me and Rogue for this fantastic interview. Again, tips are always, always appreciated, but never mandatory. But remember, we are putting so much work into these episodes every single week, and each and every one of these entertainers are really putting themselves in a situation to be vulnerable and share a lot of tea that is, very specific to them, and it's very strong of them for them to share that information. So please make sure to show that appreciation, because we don't have drag shows anymore. We need your money. Give me your money. Just joking. Well, with that said, we also are so excited for this Monday as I get to go to episode 45, boys and girls. That's right, episode 45 of Bitch Talk with Bitchcock, as I get my very own sister from Portland, Oregon, Calliope Carmichael's McPherson. She's going to come here and spill all the tea about being a hit performer, about life as a trans person, and how she puts up with the one and only Maliena Bitchcock. Oh, she's a bitch. Oh my gosh. Well, before I let you go, Rogue, do you want to play a little game with me?
Oh, darling, I am down for sure.
Well, perfect. So we usually play a little game, Truth or Drink, first to get you lubed up. But I thought we'd really fuck with everyone and play our other game first, as we like to play Marry, Kai, or Cancel. And this is a series where I ask you about 3 queens at a time, and out of those 3 queens, you're going to tell me who you would marry, who you would kai-kai with, and who you want to cancel their gigs completely.
All right, I'm here for it. I'm nervous as hell, but I'm ready.
Oh, don't be nervous. Well, no, you should be nervous. It's going to be scary as fuck. Well, we only have a mini game here this time. So for round 1, we have the one and only Queen of Wigs herself, Lilac. The bitch that is outrageous and everyone knows out in Portland, Bougie Cherry. And the one that everyone's ready to kill, Amy to kill.
Ooh, that one's hard. So we have Bougie, Amy, and who was first?
Lilac.
Lilac, Bougie, Amy. Well, someone needs to cancel Lilac, so I'm just gonna cancel her now. Cancel her. Get rid of her.
Oh my God, the scandal of it all. Can I at least have all her wigs if you're gonna cancel
That's why
her?
we need to cancel her.
Yes. Okay, so who you would marry and who would you kai-kai with?
Oh, I would marry Amy because I think she might know how to cook some good food, or at least go to a takeout drive-through. And then I would kai Bougie.
Good choice. I've seen her in a dressing room. That's definitely a good choice. Okay, for round 2, let's go with some Portland favorites, starting with the Empress of a Decade, the one and only Kimberly Michelle Westwood, the angel that sometimes can be a little devilish, Angel Phoenix, and of course, the funny queen herself, Valerie DeVille.
Oh, this one's hard too. Okay, so I'm just gonna. Let us marry Angel because she can cook, girl. Yes, I love a good cooker. Marry Angel. We can. I guess we can kai with the Empress of the Decade.
Oh my God, you're gonna kai with Kimberly? That's my sister. Oh.
Oh, how dirty. Oh my gosh, she'd be down. And then I guess we're gonna have to cancel Valerie. I don't want to cancel Valerie though. But
I wouldn't want to cancel Valerie either. She'd put a hit on you for that. She'd be like, you cancel my gigs? I'm gonna fucking take you out, bitch. Well, we have one last round of Marry, Kai or Cancel. For our last round, we have Honey B. Hart, one of the legendary queens of CC Slaughters, our Camp Wanakiki bearded queen legend, Diana Fire, and of course, Autumn Reinhardt.
This one's actually easier for me. Okay. So, no, I'm joking. I think that first I would marry Honey B. Hart. I would marry Honey. She's super sweet. And then I would kai Diana Fire, because who doesn't love a good old daddy bear? And then
oh my God, who doesn't want to kai Diana Fire? Oh my God, I just want to sit on her beard and dust out my cobwebs.
Oh my goodness, yes. She said dust out the cobwebs. It's been 84 years. So,
84 years since I've had an orgasm, and I need your beard to titillate my clitoris.
I hope you're listening, Diana Fire.
Well, Diana Fire, I hope you're listening, because with that said, I hope you give me a call, because I want to get you on Bitch Talk to spill all the bearded tea, whore. So does that mean that you would cancel Autumn Reinhardt?
Autumn Reinhardt is canceled, darling. She works for me. She's canceled anyway. I'll let her know in a messenger.
Oh, well, sorry, girl. I guess that's loss of wages. At least she'll owe you unemployment.
Not in this economy.
But should I know, bitch? No. Well, no problem. Now, Rogue, we have one last game that we want to play with you before we say goodbye. And this, again, is a Bitch Talk with Bitchcock favorite that we like to play and we like to call Truth or Drink. And how this will work is I'm going to ask you a series of shady questions. And you can either answer truthfully or you can take a sip of that very alcoholic beverage that we have sitting aside for you. Oh.
All right, I'm here for it. I'm ready, baby. Let's do it.
Yes. For round one, or truth or drink, what's the craziest thing you've done on stage?
Oh, the craziest thing I've done on stage is take off my drag.
Like, wait, like the wig and makeup, all of it?
Yeah, just took it off. That was it.
What,
That
like,
was the performance. I
how
don't do a
much
lot
of
of
it did you
craziness on
take
stage.
out? Was there like a little extra something hanging out with you by the end?
Well, the number ended before we got to that part.
That's for the fans only page.
$10 a month, and you can get an OnlyFans subscription to RogueSafari.
Honey, can you grab my wallet? Thank you. I'm getting me a new subscription. Well, perfect. For round two, what's the longest, oh God, this is dirty, you've gone without washing your undergarments and tights, you dirty bitch?
Oh God! Now this is gonna bother some people because I like to use multiple pairs of tights. I have like 3 different sets of tights, so I could go a week without washing one of them.
Do they smell like corn chips?
Sometimes, yeah. If it's been a hard show, yeah, they can smell terrible, especially if they were in the suitcase. But again, I have 3 sets, girl. I have 3 different looks.
You know, and if it's really a heavy show, really sweaty, it doesn't just smell like corn chips. It smells like corn chips and the salsa. I love it. So for round 3, oh God, this is some tea right here. What has been the drunkest you've ever been in drag?
Oh my God. I have been so drunk that I forgot my stuff outside of a bar and thought someone stole it.
What?
Yeah, girl.
Oh my God. That's some tea right there. Like, were you just like, well, who took my shit? Who took my shit? You took my shit, didn't you, bitch? I'm gonna take all my earrings and take your ass.
I sure hell did. I was mad, girl. My drunk ass was sitting there and I called the wrong people out. I'm like, well, that was my fault. I should have been calling myself out.
Oh my God, I love that. Well, for you sharing your best drunk story, let me share one of mine.
Yes.
Now, I was doing a fantastic dinner show out in Medford, and people started to tip me and my best friend with tequila shots. And we're like, oh, whatever. They're just tequila. Since when did tequila make anyone do anything crazy? And we're taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shots on top of our already 2 Long Island iced teas. Now, all I can tell you is I do not remember leaving the bar. I do not remember leaving the venue. And the next morning, my friend calls me up and they're like, how are you doing? Are you doing okay? I'm like, oh my God, girl, I don't even remember going home. And they're like, well, we didn't go home. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, we didn't go home after the show. We went to Sherry's. Don't you remember? I'm like, you took me in public after being drunk? And they're like, yeah, you threw up in my iced tea. I'm like, I did what? And they're like, yeah, you're like, you look dizzy and you said you're going to puke. So I handed you my iced tea and you threw up in it. I'm like, you didn't drink it, did you? And like, what do you take me for? I'm not going to waste my iced tea. Of course I drank it. No, I'm joking.
Oh, no!
But that's my crazy drug story. I thought it'd make you feel a little better.
That sure did. That made me feel a lot better. Yeah.
Well, perfect. For round 4, tell us about your worst performance flop. Now, a performance flop is like when your wig falls off, your titty falls out, or you maybe just fall on your face.
Ooh, my biggest performance flop here in Portland, I will say. I was performing at Darcel's. Well, actually, I don't think that was the biggest flop. I think the biggest flop was when I was performing at Tonic Lounge and my heel decided to crumble under the weight of my dainty little feet and I fell and landed on my ass and I didn't know what happened. I thought I slipped and then I tried to get back up and then my foot was like, not today, Satan. It was bad. I had to take my shoe off and I was just like, I'm not wearing the right tights for this. I was wearing like footless tights. It was bad. It was so bad.
Oh my God, girl. I mean, performance flops are the worst. I remember I had those old fashioned like silicone titties, not like quite like this, but the ones like that you insert into your bra. And I'm like, I'm gonna just duct tape them to my chest and wear a halter top. And they were duct taped to me. And as I'm performing, it's really warm in there, so I start sweating. And then next thing you know, my tits are lowering, lowering, lowering until flop, flop. They both fall out of the bottom of my freaking halter top, and each of them just land there awkwardly face up on the dance floor as I'm performing. And I remembered it seemed like in seeing, like we both at the same time, the audience and me both like looked down at the tit, looked at each other and was like, well, keep going. And oh, that was my worst performance flop.
Baby, I live. That's fabulous.
And I even remember I was like performing like Can't Fight the Moonlight from like Coyote Ugly. So it was totally embarrassing because I was trying to be a Coyote Ugly girl. Yes.
Yes. And this was
So
it.
One last question of truth or drink before we say our goodbyes, Rogue. This one's quite scandalous. Ooh, I growled. That was scandalous. What have you ever hooked up with a gentleman caller at a drag show?
Oh, I'm gonna drink on this one.
Ooh, take a sip, girl. Ooh, so juicy. That looks like some good, tasty vodka. Well, Rogue, honey, you survived all of my games and mental manipulation and also my fantastic talk show of Bitch Talk with Bitchcock. Did you have fun?
I did. I had an absolute blast. Thank you so much for having me, darling.
Absolutely. It's been such an honor to have you on my show so I can finally feature such an amazing performer as yourself. For all of you beautiful boys and girls and all of those in between, if you've enjoyed this fantastic episode of Bitch Talk with Bitchcock, again, look down below within the description where you can find tipping information such as PayPal, Venmo, and Cashapp. And make sure just to throw a little something extra at both me and Rogue. Even if you don't tip me today, please make sure to tip the amazing RogueStormSafari. With that also said, I want you to look down below within the descriptions. If you're a major supporter of Black Lives Matter, there are several links down below where you can support to the PDX Bail Fund, to the George Floyd Memorial Fund, and several other links where you can actually support the major movement of Black Lives Matter. Now, Rogue, do you have a link or website that people can go to order your nails by chance?
Yes, it is facebook.com/rogue.safari.
So that you hear that, all you beautiful people. If you need a new fantastic set of nails, please make sure to hit up the beautiful Rogue Safari. Now, please tune in for our next episode of Bitch Talk with Bitchcock this Monday as I interview my drag sister, Calliope Carmichaels McPherson, as we spill all the fucking tea. And this is my sister, so you know there's going to be a lot of tea to spill. In the meantime, I hope you all have a fantastic weekend and stay safe. And Rogue, again, thank you again for coming on my show, girl. I love you.
I love you too, darling. Thank you so much for having me again.
Absolutely. I hope you all stay safe and have fun, and we will see you next time on Bitch Talk with Bitchcock. You all be safe and have fun. Love you all. Yeah.